All right, welcome guys. This is the ELEET Review Podcast. We're coming at you here today with a special video with a special guest as well. We're going to be doing a Batman ranking of the Batman live action movies from worst to best. Brought on a special guest here, Andrew. He's just a movie reviewer, has great takes on movies and especially the Batman movies. So we wanted to bring him on here and talk about that. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe. We did do a review of The Batman movie that just came out a few weeks ago. So make sure you check that out too. And just for a disclaimer, we'll not be including 1966 Batman or the Lego Batman movie or the Justice League, but we're not putting the Justice League because that's not a Batman movie. So let's go ahead and get started here. And let's kick it off. And we'll start with you, Andrew, since you're our guest. So what is going to be your last place in part of this ranking here?
All right. Hey guys, great to be here. Long time caller, first time listener. My number 9 is actually, and this isn't that controversial, but it's Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, I'm very interested in what Snyder's doing with like the slow, methodical kind of superhero deconstruction-esque like approach to it. But it's too long, man, and I can't get into it. And, Batfleck has a cool voice, Wonder Woman's theme rules. The Martha thing is funny, but yeah, no, not a cup of tea.
Yeah, I agree.
That's funny, man. We'll get to my ranking soon, but yeah, Batman vs Superman's not a movie that I think me or Aiden like here as much either, so glad you feel that same way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Aiden, what's going to be your number 9 spot?
In number 9, I put Batman and Robin for, I think, pretty obvious reasons. I just don't think it's a great movie. I enjoy it. I think it's funny, but I don't know. It's hard for me to even criticize it because it just like has too many things. Like, I think it's dumb how they just kind of randomly throw in that Alfred's dying all of a sudden. And nobody really feels like that attached to him either. I don't know. I don't love George Clooney as Batman. I don't know. I just don't like his Bruce Wayne very much, honestly. I think Arnold is kind of hilarious as Mr. Freeze, but yeah, it's too hard for me to criticize this movie. It's just, you know it's bad.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, my number 9 spot as well goes to Batman and Robin. I'm sure you asked most of the world what their least favorite Batman movie was. It probably would be Batman and Robin if you want to take a nice bet on that. I don't even need to get into a full review of this movie. I'll tell you on my Letterboxd, it takes the cake for being the lowest scored movie I've ever put on there. I gave it a 0.5 star out of 5. It almost, it's not even like it's so good. It's so bad, it's good. There's kind of a criteria movie where you can be like, oh, it's so bad, it's good. I don't even quite feel that with Batman and Robin. I kind of just shake my head the whole time. I'm obviously laughing a little bit, but it's obviously a train wreck. And that's why it goes down as a meme, and it's hilarious because it's just, you can't take it seriously at all. That takes my place for the worst spot. I don't even feel like talking about my thoughts on it much because it's a waste of my time to tell you why I don't like this movie. So let's go ahead and go on to our number 8 spot here, Andrew. What's going to be your next spot?
So my number 8 is Batman Forever. And now, despite the freaking slander of my boy Joel Schumacher here, I actually do really enjoy his 2 movies. I think Batman Forever is just fun, goofy, high camp, and nothing else. And really, that's all I want sometimes. I think that Jim Carrey is goofy. I think that Tommy Lee Jones is goofy. I have fun with it. I'll put it on a Saturday night when I don't want to think too hard.
That makes sense.
But the reason it's not ranked higher is it's not quite. It doesn't go as far as I want it to. It doesn't go quite as high camp as Batman and Robin.
That's true. Well, that's fun. All right, Aiden, what's gonna be your number 8 spot?
My number 8 is also Batman Forever. I don't know. This movie, for some reason, just gave me the weirdest vibes, and I think it has to do with the wacky music. The top performance by Jim Carrey, and I always forget his name, the dude who plays Two-Face.
Tommy Lee Jones.
And then like the weird neon lights that are just always going through Gotham. I don't understand why they went with all these weird colored lights for the entire movie. It made me feel weird by the end. I was like, I did not like that very much. I think it does do some good like Bruce Wayne stuff, but like when he had PTSD, like when the flowers hit the floor, stuff like that. I like that. That was good character stuff. And I think Val Kilmer is pretty good Batman. But besides that, I really can't give it much.
Nice. Well, it's funny because my number 8 spot is also Batman Forever. So there's a tie there between us all. It's funny because I think in the first hour of this movie, I actually have a pretty good time. Like I remember this is my first time watching it. It was just a few weeks ago for the very first time. And I was like, you know what? This might end up being better than like Batman Returns or Batman 1989. And I was like, this is pretty dang good. And then it's like you get to a point where I think it just becomes a lot about the Riddler and Two-Face, and it just derails real quickly for me. And it seems like Jim Carrey could be a perfect Riddler, but then it just gets taken way over the top that I can't even like it. I just get really cringed out most of the time. I think the final fight is really bad. A lot of the dialogue is just too campy for me. But I totally get Andrew's perspective where if you just want to find a pretty fun campy movie, it sounds pretty fun. And I actually really do like Val Kilmer's Batman. I actually think he's pretty underrated. I think they did good with his story there and the way he acted as Batman and his voice and everything as Bruce Wayne. It's pretty good. So I think it's a great Batman with everything else just being pretty bad. So let's get to our number 7 spot here. Number 7. Andrew, what's going to be your number 7?
So my number 7 is Batman and Robin. And I have a brief little rebuttal to your guys' arguments. And that is that Arnold Schwarzenegger wants to freeze Gotham City and he makes ice puns. And it is outstanding. It is so funny. And I'm having a great time with this one. It pushes even further than Batman Forever. And if you just don't take it super seriously, I think it's a great time. He has a Bat credit card. And I think that's just lovely.
Yeah, the Bat credit.
I do think it's a hilarious movie. I do it so bad it's good on that one.
Nice. All right. Well, Aiden, what's your number 7?
I put Batman vs Superman my number 7. I don't know. I'd rather watch Batman and Robin and Batman Forever over this one. I don't know. I have a lot of dislike for this movie. It's just very long and very boring. I was just so annoyed when I first watched it about everything. I think Ben Affleck could be a really good Batman if they like put the work into it, but in this one he's just going off and murdering everyone. I don't like that very much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could go on for like a long time about this movie. I can give a whole rant about this movie, but yeah, I don't like it very much. It is a better movie than the other two, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. My number 7 spot is going to be Batman vs Superman as well. And if you guys do want to get further thoughts on that, we actually do have a video where we reviewed Batman vs Superman, and it's pretty much a rant on why we didn't like it. It's like 20 or 30 minutes long, so check that out. But I don't like this movie at all. I agree. I wish I could put it in last place because I would take any chance to just trash on this movie. But I do think it is a better made movie than Batman and Robin, Batman Forever. But I don't like the way Snyder handles Batman in this movie very much at all. I don't even like the nightmare sequences where he's in his trench coat with his machine gun shooting people. I kind of get the concept there, but it's not like I like to see that scene very much. Yeah. The warehouse scene is really cool, but there's a lot of things he's doing that are like, he's not killing, but he's killing. I don't like the branding on people. I think that's weird that he brands a bat on people.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
I think his motivation to try and kill Superman is pretty dumb. I just don't like it very much. I agree that I think a Ben Affleck solo movie that he was going to write could have actually been a really good Batman movie. And I still think he should have got a solo movie before they did Batman vs Superman. So yeah, it's not the worst, but I really hate this movie. And I hate people that say the Ultimate Edition is way better because I watched the Ultimate Edition. I didn't even tell what the differences really were. I thought it was still terrible.
Yeah. Well,
it felt the same, just longer.
He had blood, so Batman killed that guy.
Yeah, so it was all right. I think in Zack Snyder's Justice League, Batman was handled much better, and I actually like that version of Batman a lot. But in this movie, it's just I don't like this movie at all. So that's my number 7. So here we go. We're in the top 6 here. Andrew, what's going to be your number 6?
Cool. Yeah, my number 6 is The Dark Knight Rises, and that is mainly because of one man named Tom Hardy, who makes a beautiful decision to somehow have a funnier voice than Christian Bale in this trilogy. And it is immaculate. It's outstanding. But yeah, besides that, there's some cool sequences. I like the airplane sequence. I like the ending. I think, and you're going to hear me say this word a lot, but I think this trilogy is also secretly camp. It's very funny sometimes, and I love it. Although I'm not really sure, of the 3 movies, the reason why this one's so low is I'm just not quite sure. Maybe it's just me. what it's saying per se, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, Aiden, what's gonna be your number 7? Or sorry, 6.
Number 6, I put Batman Returns because I actually enjoyed this movie quite a bit. When I first watched it, it was almost tied with 89, but I don't know. I think that Penguin just held it down. He's a little bit too goofy for me. And I just think that the plot doesn't work very well with him. Like, everyone just like kind of loves him and they all just want him to be mayor or whatever. I didn't like that very much. I did like Catwoman a lot. I thought the Catwoman was really good in this one and better than in Rises.
Yeah.
I like Michael Keaton as Batman. I think he's a good Batman. I just, I don't know. He's not in it very much. Batman's not in the movie very much. I do think the action is done a lot better in this one than in 89, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, my number 6 spot is also Batman Returns. I got a feeling we're probably going to have the same list, me and Aiden here, but we'll see how it goes down. But yeah, my number 6 spot is Batman Returns. I actually, people are going to hate me, but I don't like this movie very much at all. I know it's kind of high up here on my list, but I'm just not that much of a fan. I think I agree. It's Danny DeVito's Penguin for me. I like Danny DeVito a lot. I really do. But in this
He's a funny guy.
I can't stand him eating this raw fish, walking around people. He's too horny. He's way too into women and stuff. I hate the scene with the pin with the women when he's trying to put the pin on them. I hate the scene where he's riding on this little virtual Batmobile thing. And I can't stand how his plot goes down. I really like Catwoman in this. I can't really stand Christopher Walken's character much either. And I agree. I think Batman just, in both 1989 and Returns, I think Batman, I don't think Burton cared that much about Batman and creating this story arc for him. It was more just like, oh, let's focus on the villains and all these Tim Burton qualities in these movies.
Yeah.
Batman's kind of just a side character here to make the movies what they're supposed to be. And I didn't like that much. As much as I do like Michael Keaton's Batman. He's pretty good. But I just think the Penguin really knocks this down for me in the plot. Just with the penguins destroying the city at the end. It's too much for me. I at least like in Batman Forever and Batman Robin, it's just campy to the max. And this one is like kind of trying to be serious, but it also ends up being so freaking campy that I just can't stand it much. So
yeah.
It's for me.
I do really like the snow in the city though. That makes
sense. Yes.
I love the snow and
Christmas time's fun. Yeah.
Right.
But cool. Let's get to our top 5 here. We're now in the top 5. Andrew, what's going to be your number 5th?
So my number 5 is the Tim Burton Batman. I really like this one. I think it has my all-time favorite Batman theme, that amazing Danny Elfman.
It is amazing. It is amazing.
Yes. I think Nicholson's Joker is very interesting. It's kind of an interesting synthesis between like the very like wacky, like I'm gonna blow up Gotham City, the world's largest movie efficient Joker, and like the scary Heath Ledger Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of a very early post-Silver Age vibe.
Yeah.
I like the graphic architecture, and I like that Tim Burton just goes, Batman, he's just a weird guy. He's just a strange boy that dresses in a bat costume and roams around at night. And that's all of it. Like, that's all he is. Just a strange man. And I love that.
Yeah.
Do you like that Joker was the one that killed his parents?
I think it... no, not really. I think it does, unlike Returns, which is why Returns is higher for me, it does occasionally fall into, like, standard kind of Hollywood narrative archetypes that don't always work for the Batman mythos and always work for, like, Tim Burton's weirdo vision. But, so that's why it's at number 5.
Cool. All right, well, Aiden, what's going to be your number 5?
Number 5, I put Batman 89. I actually like this movie quite a bit. I do love seeing Joker. It's basically just a Joker movie, which I'm not like a huge fan of. And I wasn't very interested in the stuff before he actually became Joker. I don't know. I just didn't like that very much. But when he was actually Joker, I think he's great. I don't feel like I hear enough praise for his Joker either. Like, nobody ever talks of him as being a great Joker. I think he's really good. I do wish that Batman was in this movie more. And something about the way Batman fights, he's just so stiff.
Yeah.
That suit's really stiff in both the movies, yeah.
Right.
I also, it really bugs me the way he glides. Yeah, I will say this movie has like a phenomenal soundtrack. I love the soundtrack in this and Returns. It's by far like the best Batman soundtrack to me.
Yeah.
And I love Gotham. I think Gotham is just so great in this, and I think Tim Burton really nailed that. But yeah, most of my problem is that it's just mostly a Joker movie, and I wish that we got to see some more Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we got another tie here because I'm at 1989 as well for number 5.
Gotcha.
So I'm not the usual type of person who like grew up watching 89. You know, a lot of kids and stuff grew up watching 89. I wasn't one of those. I just saw it for the first time like a month ago. So a lot of people, I think, give this movie a lot of nostalgia points, which, you know, whatever. You can do that because I know you got your feelings growing up with it or whatever, but that's not for me. I viewed this as like, this is my first time watching it here. I'm like 22 watching this movie. And I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't amazing to me. It's very middle of the road for me. I do think Jack Nicholson's Joker is pretty dang good, actually. I really do like his Joker adaptation. I thought he nails the laugh and the kind of the character pretty well. And it's not too bad of a plot either. I do agree, though, Batman's not in it enough. I do like his opening scene where he first appears. It's really cool. But yeah, it just I think it's a really awkward movie, and it's really stiff, and really a lot of scenes just play out in really weird orders and ways. Like, it seems like however they put together the final product was really patchy and weird.
Yeah.
And I just feel like no one paid attention enough to like how scenes flow and how the plot flows. Because there's a lot of good scenes just kind of like put in such weird areas of the movie. So I didn't like how the pacing works. Like, the pacing is too much for me. I agree, Batman's suit's way too stiff. So every time he fights, he's like moving like this. And I really don't like that. And then I just cannot stand little things like how at the end, Batman walks up this huge flight of stairs to get to the top of the tower instead of taking his grapple hook and grappling up there. Really pisses me off. That whole final
He's used his grapple hook like 3 times in this movie too.
I know. So stuff like that just really frustrates me. I hate the scene where like he like puts the little plate in his chest and then he's like, "Hey Joker, you want to fight?" And the Joker shoots him. Like, I'm like, I don't know what you were trying to get accomplished there. He got knocked out and then Joker just decides to walk himself out. It's like scenes like that I just hate the way they play out so much. But then there's a lot of things I also really love. I obviously respect the movie a lot. It has a great place in history. I know that it did a lot for, you know, the superhero movies and everything, but I just, as a movie itself, I think it's just middle of the road. I don't really quite get the people that put this up at the top and everything. I don't feel that way. So let's get to our top 4 here. What's going to be your number 4 spot, Andrew?
So my number 4 is Batman Returns. And now, unlike 89, this is the one where they just told Tim Burton, do whatever you want. And it just completely sheds all of the, like, you know, Hollywood conventions, and it just goes crazy, dude. It goes so crazy. I agree. It's not a Batman movie. I think it's mostly a Penguin movie. And personally, I agree with everything you said, but I am here for the Penguin movie. Danny DeVito plays the Penguin, not like a mobster, but like Nosferatu, which is so weird for him, and I love it. I love seeing him do that, like, you know, spit out the bile and talk in the Danny DeVito voice. I think it's so insane. I think it's scary and gothic, but also kind of weirdly charming. And it's not even really about like Batman thematically. It's just kind of about 3 weirdos kind of defiled by society, hiding in the shadows. And I think that's interesting.
That is cool. That is true.
Yeah.
What's going to be your spot here, Aiden, for number 4?
I put The Dark Knight Rises. I just watched this a few days ago. I actually did like this movie a lot. I think it was a good movie. It just is the weakest of the Nolan trilogy. Yeah. It's very long. I didn't like how long it was, really. But that was fine. I thought that some of the plot elements were a little bit weird. Like, I didn't really like the Robin character. And I thought like the way that they teased him at the end was just really unnecessary. I don't really like the whole thing at the end where it's like, did Bruce Wayne die? And then he shows up and you're like, I guess not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they should have been more straightforward about that. That was kind of weird. I love Bane. I think he was a great villain. I do wish that he was like the main villain of this. I didn't really love the Ra's al Ghul stuff coming back because I don't know. I thought that weird twist at the end was just a little bit too crazy. I thought the action in this was a lot better than the other two films, though. I thought that Bane was just so cool whenever he fought Batman and whenever he broke his back or whatever. One more problem. I don't like how Batman just leaves the movie for like a quarter of it.
It becomes Batman again, basically.
Right.
Yeah, I do like
when he rises.
I do like when he climbs up. I thought that was cool, but I just thought it was a little bit unnecessary. And then Bane's like, 20 days the bomb will go off, giving Batman like the exact amount of time to get out. Yeah. I thought that was kind of dumb, but I did like this movie. I liked Batman a lot. I thought Catwoman was good. I liked Bane a lot. I thought it was good.
Nice. Well, my number 4 spot also goes to The Dark Knight Rises. I agree. It's a pretty good movie. It's definitely the weakest of the trilogy, in my opinion, by quite a landslide. I always say it, but I think it's like the laziest of Nolan's plots in the Batman trilogy. Because when you have Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, you have like these very complex movies with like very complex plots. Because Nolan's obviously really good at that. He's known for that. And I feel like with Dark Knight Rises, coming off of The Dark Knight, I think he was almost like, I don't know if he was exhausted or just like not willing to put in those ideas and those twists and everything there to make it like this complex story. Because to me, it's a very convenient plot. Just like you said, the bomb goes off in 20 days. That's convenient. He just has a vertebrae in his back that's messed up. The guy pops it back. He's pretty good to go and exit out of the cave. It's a lot of like convenience things. And when you get a movie like The Dark Knight, which just has so much themes, so much like intensity, complex things to look at, it's like, oh, this movie kind of wraps things up in a pretty lazy way just to wrap them up. So while it has a lot of really good moments like Bane, and the fight between Batman and Bane is so awesome, and the fight at the end is so cool. There's a lot of good lines in here too, and lots of good moments that I think are just as good as the rest of the trilogy. I think it's so lazy for Nolan. And I know Nolan has this big bar to uphold with these last two movies, especially coming off The Dark Knight. It's like, whoa, how are you going to wrap this up? So I don't give him too much crap for that, because I mean, that's a pretty hard task to do. I definitely couldn't do that. So I respect the movie a lot. I think it's still pretty good, but it's the laziest plot out of those movies. So here we go. We're in the top 3 now. We're almost done. So
we are
number 3.
So my number 3 is Batman Begins. Now this one, when I rewatched this to get ready, I was initially just planning on like just skimming through it, watching my favorite scenes, but it immediately just like sucked me in right from the jump. And this thing is so tight and engaging and fun to watch. It's very quotable. It's also, like I said, secretly camp. It's very funny in some places. My favorite part is when Batman's at the Ninja Palace and Ra's al Ghul's like, hey, kill that guy. And Batman's like, I'm not going to kill that guy. And so instead he blows up the building and kills like 20 to 30 to like, I don't know, 100 people and leaves. But then he spares Ra's al Ghul, but then he kills him later with a train. So it's excellent. I'm a big fan.
That's awesome, dude. Aiden, what about you? Number 3?
My number 3 is also Batman Begins. I mean, I kind of agree. I remembered like when I first watched this movie, I feel like I didn't ever like the beginning, and I just thought it was super slow. But just rewatching it like a few weeks before Batman came out, I really loved it. I loved the entire beginning of this movie. And I think that it's also nicely paced once he gets back, even though it's like an hour, you have like just another hour to set up some other villains and stuff. I think it's pretty well paced in that part. I do love all the stuff with the origin, like seeing his parents and stuff. Even though I'm glad we didn't see it again after this, I did think that they did it the best in this movie. I thought Scarecrow was cool. I was kind of annoyed that he just got kind of kicked out towards the end. I wish that he could have been more of a main villain, but I did. I loved him. I thought he was pretty creepy. I thought Ra's al Ghul was... I don't know. I have mixed feelings about Ra's al Ghul. I think he's a cool villain, though. I don't know. I don't have too much more to say about this. I really like Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne and Batman, though. I think he's great.
He is great. My number 3 spot goes to Batman Begins as well. And I kind of agree there, too. Like, I hadn't seen this movie like in probably 10 years, and I rewatched it. And I remember back in the day, I used to like not like it at all, actually. When I was younger, I was like, this movie sucks. It's boring. And then I rewatched it and I was like, wow, this has become one of my favorite Batman movies. Because, I think you're right. It handles the origin story really well. And then it goes on its own little journey that's also really good. Mm-hmm. It sets up good things for The Dark Knight to come. Yeah, I agree. Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne, I think, is really, really good Bruce Wayne. I love that he takes on the role of playing like the playboy philanthropist sort of guy, and just doing what he has to do to stay secret. And then I just like how much dedication he has to becoming Batman, like to the fact where he will go out and train in this area that he has no idea about, just to learn how to fight justice and like create the suit and create all these things and learn how to be Batman. Really, really cool stuff there. I do like the Scarecrow a lot too. I mean, I love Cillian Murphy, of course, he's a great actor. So I love seeing the Scarecrow. And I really like Ra's al Ghul too here too, because I like Liam Neeson a lot. I agree. I think my main problems are going to be with how the end goes down. I don't like that Scarecrow just kind of gets sidelined and then, oh, Ra's al Ghul's back. Here we go. Let's have this final fight with Ra's al Ghul to pay things off. I thought that was pretty lame. I would have just liked Scarecrow to have his plan go down the way it was, and then there you go. But yeah, for the most part, it works pretty well. And I also just think the action isn't very good here. In most of Nolan's Batman movies here, I don't think the action's that good. It's okay, but it's the worst here in Batman Begins because he does a lot of like cutting the camera with a lot of weird sounds and flappy stuff, so you have no idea what's going on. Like the scene where Batman first shows up to fight the thugs, and he's just sitting there hitting them all, and the camera's just like, angle, and you just hear this flapping, and these guys like, oh, it's like you can't tell what is going on. So I really can't stand how the action was in this movie very much. But still, really solid origin. I think it tells the Batman origin story like perfectly. So yeah, I like it a lot. So here we go, top two. Let's go, Andrew. What's your number two?
All right, so my number two is The Dark Knight, and like, what can I say about this? Like, it's the Dark Knight. That's it. That's where it ends. It's on Turner Classic Movies. We all know it. We all love it. Heath Ledger gave one of the greatest performances of all time. Like freaking crazy stuff. Once again, it's secretly camp in some places, and it is very, very quotable.
It is.
Batman,
for sure.
He is not wearing hockey pants. That's what we might think. He's not. He's not at all. Yeah.
That was the biggest twist.
Yeah, right.
Nice. All right. Well, yeah, Aiden, what's your number two?
Yeah, my number two is The Dark Knight. I think that this is pretty much a perfect movie. I only have like a small, like a little bit of issues. Like one of them, I don't like. This is for the whole Nolan trilogy. Actually, I don't like how he's not really in the Batcave that much. But it's mostly in this. He's always just in that white room in Wayne Enterprises, and that I don't know. That just doesn't give me very Batman vibes.
Yeah.
Like when his suit just like kind of pops out of the floor of the white place. I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't like that very much. I don't really like that Batman just straight up kills Two-Face. He just like pushes him off the edge and he dies.
Well, gravity killed Two-Face.
Yeah, just like
That's
the
what they
train.
say.
Just like the train killed Grasshopper.
Right.
And just like the Batmobile was the one who killed all those people on Batman.
Yeah.
No, but I think besides those few issues, I think it's a pretty perfect movie. I think Heath Ledger does like such an amazing performance. I agree, one of the best in like any movie. I also think Harvey Dent doesn't get enough praise as a villain. I think that like his Two-Face is just amazing, and he's also one of the top tier Batman villains. And I love the way that they build him out throughout the film, and like, yeah, I think it's all great. I don't know. There's so much I could just talk about how I love about this movie. There's so much. Yeah. But yeah, I love it.
Nice. Well, yeah, for me, it's going to be The Dark Knight as well. I think that's a lot of people's top twos. There's going to be the Batman or The Dark Knight, and there's a lot of debate which one takes the top. But for me, it's going to be Dark Knight's going to be number two because, yeah, of course, it's amazing. Heath Ledger is, of course, amazing. I 100% agree that Harvey Dent is so underrated in this movie because I don't even remember the actor's name, but the performance he gives here is out of this world. I think it goes Joker, Harvey Dent, and then Batman in this movie. Like Harvey Dent is right up there as an important character in this movie. And just the arc he goes through of like being a better hero than even Batman is. Honestly, he is like he's cleaning up everything. He has such passion to save Gotham. And then by the end, just like having all these terrible things happen to him and the Joker getting in his head and he just turns into this really terrible person. That's a really cool character to look at there. And then just the themes in this movie, between like who's going to support Batman, who thinks he's just a vigilante, The Joker's whole motive is to try and get Gotham to turn on itself because he notices the cracks and everything. There's so many themes here that I think are just so profound for a superhero movie that we never really get in superhero movies. This is one of the only ones I can think of that takes such huge themes and put them into like this movie about people in costumes and with powers and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So that's really fun. And I mean, there's not much I don't like here either. There's little nitpicks I always have, like the Rachel actress that comes into this movie I don't like very much. I liked her much more in Batman Begins. I hate the scene where Joker comes into the banquet of all the people and then Batman leaves with Rachel and then the scene just cuts. I really hate that because Joker's still up there.
Right.
No idea whatever happened to that. It just cuts. I think that's so, like, that just blows my mind how no one thought, like, what happens when the Batman leaves the room. And then, just little things like that kind of just are a little annoying there. But it's really cool how at the end Batman takes the blame, has to be on the run.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
So we can keep up Harvey's message of being a hero and everything there. So it's obviously a fantastic movie, one of the best in the genre. And I think everybody agrees on that. You'd be a little weird if you didn't agree on that.
Yeah.
But, so I guess our number one spots for everyone's going to be the Batman. So I guess we'll just talk about our thoughts on that and everything. But you can start off there, Andrew.
Yeah, no, this one was really hard for me. I love both of these. And honestly, it kept going 1-2 for me, the Dark Knight and the Batman. But honestly, it's probably this recency bias, but the Batman just takes it for me. I love every performance in this. I love the aesthetic choices. I love how it looks like Gotham. It's super grimy and like neon and dark, but also like very pretty. I love the way it deconstructs Batman, his ideology. I love the way it feels like a conflict or like an Arkham game. And I love that Paul Dano, the Riddler, orders a little question mark in his coffee. Like, I wonder, did he do that or did he ask them like directly, like, hey, can I have a question mark in my coffee? You know? And I think that's just lovely.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Aiden, what do you like the Batman?
I love this. This is basically a 10 out of 10 movie for me. Yeah. I don't think I really have any problems. I will say during the second watch, it did feel a little bit long because it is a long movie. But I don't know. The first time I loved like everything. I think that the Riddler is great and is definitely top tier Batman villain up with Joker and Two-Face. He's just like so creepy, but he also has the same charisma that the Riddler always has.
Right.
Because at first I was like, this is kind of lame. I was just like a serial killer, but then he like started to get that charisma. We have like intense scenes, like the one where the bomb's on that guy. He has to answer the riddles. I love that scene. I think Robert Pattinson just does such a great Batman here, and I think he is the best Batman. I do agree with people when they say that his Bruce Wayne is like a little bit off and he's a little bit too much like Batman. But I don't know, that doesn't really bother me too much. I love Penguin in this. He's so funny.
Yeah. It's 10 out of 10. Perfect.
Yeah, it's not like unnecessarily funny. It just works. And then I'm blanking on the guy's name. I'll get back to that. Falcone. I loved all the stuff with this plot. I thought that stuff was all great. I loved Catwoman. Yeah, basically every performance I just loved. I think the fighting in this was just so cool and like by far the best in any Batman movie.
Yeah.
And then I will say that this is probably the best cinematography we've gotten in any superhero movie.
Right.
Every shot is just so nice. It's so beautiful. I don't know. I love how it leaves Gotham just like in this flood too.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't resolve it. That's just the end. I have so much to say about this movie, but you can go.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love the Batman. Like I said earlier, we also just did a review on this a bit ago. So check that out too, because we have our full thoughts there. But to me, it's the perfect Batman movie. It just has everything you could possibly want from Batman. You have such cool action. His suit looks freaking awesome. He has such a cool demeanor. I love the beginning shot where he, his signal is spear. Like you see the bugs actually getting scared in the dark.
He is the shadows.
Cool. Yeah, he is. And you see him being the world's greatest detective. You see him with the contact lenses and you see him investigating. Like he's with Commissioner Gordon, like all of the movie, looking for these clues. He's smarter than the police at finding these clues. That's super cool. Riddler was a great villain because he wasn't campy. He took the more serious like Zodiac killer approach, which was super awesome. The stakes felt very high. I love that it's year 2 Batman, so he's still learning things, still needing to figure things out. And I agree. I think Bruce Wayne isn't the best here, but I think that once we get a trilogy and once he gets more into his years, hopefully we'll start getting more of the classic Bruce Wayne stuff. But yeah, I thought Robert Pattinson killed it. I honestly had no doubt in him, though. I thought he could kill it. And yeah, Penguin was great. All the performances were amazing. Catwoman was great. I really like Gordon in this movie. No one talks about him that much, but I really liked Gordon in this movie a lot.
Yeah, he's great.
And then that Batmobile chase scene is just one of the best scenes I've seen in any superhero movie ever. I just loved the way the cinematography was, the shots, the sound. I did see it in IMAX too, which was just a whole other experience with just that Batmobile scene. It was crazy. Just all how big the screen was and how big the sound was. It was crazy. All the action, everything, it worked. And it has everything that's good about a movie too, just with pacing and with dialogue, with visuals. The music is so good in this movie. So good. Even that Nirvana song, like what a cool way to put it into a Batman movie. Like you would never really think to put a Nirvana song in a Batman movie. But it works.
It just works.
Right. And he like turns down the volume, meaning he was listening to that in the movie.
Oh yeah. I didn't know that. Yeah.
I didn't notice that either. That's awesome.
Yeah. So cool stuff like that. Gotham was awesome too. So
I also want to talk about what they did with the no killing rule. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Like
it was handled
when
great.
He puts down the gun. I love that stuff, especially coming off of murdering Ben Affleck. It felt so good to see.
Yeah. And even the little details like him zipping up people and stuff while he's fighting them. And like you see those little details and it works really good. And I just like how corrupt Gotham is. And I think we're going to get some really cool things going. I love that there's going to be spin-off shows like the Penguin show and the Arkham show. I know there was that Joker tease there at the end. And I have no doubt that'll be a cool version of Joker. I'm a little tired of the Joker at this moment in time. I kind of hope to see some other villains, but I'm glad Matt Reeves has said the Joker won't be the main villain of the second one. And that it's an early Joker. I think there will be some cool things there. But I was hoping that we could see some Two-Face or Mr. Freeze, or I hope that we get to see those villains in this universe.
I really want to see Scarecrow. I think it would work so well with this universe.
100%. Yeah, so I mean, just a perfect Batman movie. And I think most people agree on that. Like I've just seen a lot of universal agreement on how good this movie is. So you know it's really good if you got a whole connection of fans just loving this interpretation of the movie. So for me, that's why it's better than The Dark Knight, because to me, it's way more of a Batman movie than The Dark Knight. And it has everything I really wanted to see happen. And it gave me way more than I even expected to see. So
did not disappoint at all.
No, definitely not. So there you have it. That is our 9 Batman movies right there. Once again, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out our Batman review and Batman vs Superman review and everything else there. We do want to thank you for coming on here, Andrew, and talking movies with us. So you guys have a great week. We'll catch you soon.
See you guys.
Cheers.